Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is your city, your voice. Up there with Niagara Falls, Derek Canyon in the studios of 4680Q Radio. I got my 4680Q shirt on, and we're going to roll through all this because you know what? When I started this at first, I didn't turn the microphone on, so the radio guys are getting a double dose of my introduction. But I won't do that to my video guys. We're going to get right into the show, of course, in this beautiful weather, 80 degrees, a little bit cloudy out there. Could rain. You never know. We have pop-up showers. But yeah, before we get into the show, I have lots to talk about, lots going on. Wacky people. We're going to talk about them on this Finally Friday. But first, to my sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Company. Our newest sponsor, the Niagara Parks Commission. And you got to love the Niagara Parks Commission. We get into this kind of weather here, and you know, everybody wants to hit the beach. They want to be somewhere where it's cool. They want to get lots of air, and they don't want to break down when they're going there. So what do? You go to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop on Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership, and you say to Ken Hunter, Ken, check out my car for me. I don't want to break down on the way to the beach or up north or wherever you're going to go with your wife and kids in the summer vacation. So you get Ken to check it out. He makes sure your brakes are safe. He makes sure your systems are working. He makes sure you got lots of CF Freon, whatever it's called, in your cooling system so that your air conditioning works. You don't want to break down. You don't want anything to break down on your car. You want to have a happy motoring summer. Get out there and have a good time. You be proactive. Ken Hunter, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. WildBills.ca. That's where you go to see everything that Wild Bills has to offer. You're going to be happy. You're going to be proactive. Your car's going to be happy. You're not going to break down. Your wife and kids are going to be happy. How could you have a better summer than that? Check out the website today, and while you're at it, subscribe to the video. Why not? It costs you nothing, and I looked at my analytics, and about 50% of the people who watch the video don't subscribe. Subscribe if you're going to watch the video. It's free. Leave comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. But we like to discuss the comments when you do leave comments, so it's all good. It's all good. Subscribe to the channel, please. Help the algorithm, help get it out there. Thank you to our sponsors. They're good corporate citizens, supportive sponsors. Okay, so let's talk about some wacky people here, right? And I didn't have any comments on the videos, but I did have an interesting thing happen on Facebook. You know, there's all kinds of whack jobs out there, and you never know what's going to trigger them. So there was a post by a guy named Tom Tom, and I don't know if I know Tom Tom or not. I don't even know who he is. I don't think. Maybe I do. I don't know. I know a lot of people. But anyway, he had a letter from the White House that was talking to Chili Con Carne, telling him that August 1st, there's going to be 35% tariffs on everything. He just wanted to let him know, because they couldn't make a deal. He couldn't make a deal. 35% tariffs on everything. Now, all I did, I put one comment. One word. MAGA. MAGA. That's it. No other commentary. Just put MAGA. And for some reason, it triggered this guy. Paul S. was the guy's name. I don't know what his last name is. I don't care what his last name is. But it triggered this guy. And he went off. You know, the elbows up Canadian, protecting Canada, blaming everything on Trump. Even though Trudeau had 10 years of ruining Canada. But he went on, and I'm just going, man, you got TDS bad. You got to relax. And he just went on, and then he doubled down. He couldn't take it anymore. And I'm telling you, you see this on TV. These people want to get violent, right? The left is very violent. They have TDS. It's a real thing. Mental health people have said TDS is a real thing. And it's out there, and you see these people freaking out. But it's a real thing. And so this guy puts He doubled down on everything he was saying, right? Insulting, the usual insulting stuff. Idiot, moron, goof, jerk, racist, white supremacist. Did I miss anything? Probably. Here's what he put. I'm going to read it right to you. This Paul S. I don't know if you know him. Look him up on Facebook. Trump lovers are really the ones that need help. You are all brain dead losers. Okay, there you go. Loser. I forgot that one. Idiot, moron, jerk, dummy, loser. Yeah, I forgot that one. You get help. I know former Trump lovers who hate him now. I don't know anybody like that. Took a while, but they finally saw the light. You insult Canada. I put MAGA. How did I insult Canada? You get an ass kicking. This is our elbows up Canadians. You insult Canada, you get an ass kicking. Tough guys on the internet, you get an ass kicking. Okay, then he went on. Move to the U.S., you piece of I will throw you across the border myself, a-hole. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. TTS is a real thing. So this guy don't even know me, never met me. I wrote one word, MAGA, calls me a piece of SHIT, and he's going to throw me across the border himself after he calls me an a-hole. I'm serious, people. Look this guy up. He's whacked. But I'm telling you, though, people like this are real. They're out there. This is a real derangement syndrome. And this elbows up crap is another problem. These people are the problem. We can't make a deal. Why do you think Carney's getting a letter? This elbows up attitude, this Canadian inferiority complex to Americans, and everything else. All you need is one word, MAGA, and it sets them off. And I just laugh because, what kind of ding dong, mental midget threatens people on the internet. On a public forum, he's threatening to do harm to somebody. I mean, you got to really be a gem to do that. Anyway, look him up, Paul S. Yep, he's the guy. But you have to remember, all this tirade came from one word, MAGA, MAGA. Now you tell me these people are all there. Gary Wilkins, I need my bodyguards. You got to give me some bodyguards. I got to go with a couple bodyguards from now on. People are triggered. They're losing it. Bodyguards, come heavy. Oh man, I'm telling you, it's just ridiculous. But this is true. I mean, this is what happens. This is a true thing. One word, MAGA. Go figure. Oh, I had an interesting picture sent to me by @881slick of a house on Hutton Street, Hutton Avenue, in Niagara Falls. And I went and checked it out myself yesterday. And I don't understand how the bylaws work or are applied in this city. Now, on Hutton Avenue, or whatever it's called, it's over there by CI, by Epworth Circle. The road is narrow. I mean, it's really narrow. It's probably a laneway and a half. It's not like a nice wide road like these roads downtown and that. It's more like a laneway that was turned into a road or something. And there's houses on it, but, there's not a lot of on-street parking. It's not a big street. This guy has at least, I don't know, I saw 5 or 6 junk cars in his driveway. And I'm talking about beaters that he's fixing up. A couple of them old, look like a Chevy Impala in the early 60s, and an old VW, and a bunch parked on the road. And what a big mess. What a big mess. And I don't understand how he got away with having all these cars in the city, on this road, junk, most of them, they look like. And he keeps having them, and there's no bylaw guy down there dealing with it. Where's the bylaw people? They're always talking about bylaw officers and amps and this and enforcing this, enforcing that, and short-term rentals and license agreements and fees. And where's the guy? This has been going on for a while, I guess, and I don't understand why they haven't gone down there and towed all these junk cars and told me he's got to get rid of them. It's a narrow street as it is, and all these cars parked on the street. And I mean, the guy across the street is trying to sell the house, and I can imagine, like, if I went down there and I saw the house across the street for sale and looked, I'd go, well, I'm not buying this. Look at what I got across the street from me. Forget about it. And if you're going to be buying it to do an Airbnb, well, that's even a different story because people are going to look and they're going to go and say, look at this. I mean, I'm coming here to rent, and it's in the tourist district. I think Epworth Circle in that area is in the tourist area where you can open an Airbnb. And yeah, I mean, but then again, I never understood bylaw anyway because across the street from me, people have been living in a Honda Civic for 3 years, and they can't do anything about it. The car's been broke down in the driveway, hasn't turned a wheel in 3 years, doesn't even run, and people are living in it. And there's nothing the bylaw guys can do about it, apparently. So I don't get these bylaws and how they're enforced. I mean, does this guy know somebody at City Hall where they won't enforce it? I don't get it. But anyway, I just got that picture with the guy telling me about it. I'm going, wow. I'm going, that's unbelievable. Seems like the bylaws are applied randomly. There's some people who have them there for just this much over the sidewalk, you get a ticket. This guy's got them all across the sidewalk. I mean, it's crazy. It's a mess. Thanks to my roving guys out there telling me about different things. And speaking of a mess, how about this meteor crater here too? Remember last time I said it looked like Friar Tuck, the monk. It was long on the sides with nothing on top. Like Friar Tuck, you know. Now it's the other way. It's the Kramer look. It's got the fade on the sides because they just cut all the grass around the outside with the weeds 5 feet tall in the middle. The fade with the big one. Yeah. So we got the reverse fade or whatever the heck they call that haircut. Speaking of bylaws and city taking care of stuff. But anyway, that's that crazy thing down on Hutton Avenue. And whoever lives there, I feel sorry for those guys having to put up with that. I mean, that's insane. And I imagine there's a lot of noise. He's working on cars all the time. He had 3 in the driveway, one of those old jalopy type of cars he was working on. So I don't know. Just weird. I know that whoever's trying to sell that house across the street, it's going to be a tough sell. So, you think we have complicated developments in Niagara Falls, and we do. There's some big developments that hopefully go down the pipe. One is a 77-story building. Yeah, proposed and has to be built down on the corner of Allendale and Robinson Street. I mean, to me, that would be a pretty complicated build. But never mind that. How about in Welland? This is something I've never even heard of before. Maybe somebody else has in another city, but not me, not around here. There's a guy who wants to develop 83.6 hectares of property and build 1,155 single-detached homes, along with condos, stacked townhouses, mixed-use units, and it's on Oxford Road, and that's just south of where the Woodlawn crosses the 406 in Welland, if you know what I mean. Now, the developer who wants to develop this is being told he has to build an overpass on the 406 because there's no way to access this property. They need access, and the only one is on some little parkway, Delmer Parkway. I didn't know where that is, but that is, hey, there's the soup Nazi out there. That looks just like the guy in Seinfeld. It's the only way to access it is to actually go, if you go to Seaway Mall, taking Woodlawn off the 406, right? But instead of going towards Seaway Mall, you go the other way towards the canal. Well, there's a parkway called Dalemer Parkway, and it goes kind of towards it, but it doesn't go to it. So the only way to get to it is to build an overpass on the 406. So this developer has got to spend $20 million or more on an overpass. Now, I have never heard of this before. This is wild. Not only do you have to build the subdivision, they paid $19 million for the property in 2018, but now they have to build an overpass so they have access to it. And of course, the city councilors are going, oh, wait a minute. He builds the overpass. Who's responsible for taking care of it? Well, it's the MTO who's got to take care of it because it crosses the highway, and it really is an MTO structure. They're demanding it. An overpass. So that's the wildest thing I've ever heard of. I mean, we talk about having to build a little overpass on some railway tracks or something in Niagara Falls, right? We can't do that. These guys are going to have to build an overpass to get into their subdivision that they're building. Can you imagine that? So the MTO said the overpass and access was needed after doing traffic studies. The developer disagrees, as his studies say access is fine from the existing network of roads, and they're going to put an emergency entrance at the south end of the development in case there's emergency service have to access that, because there's no way to access it other than going down, like way down Brown Road or coming up from East Main Street. So the developer could go to the OLT, and nobody's sure exactly what the OLT is going to say about this, but they figure that if the MTO was recommending it, the developer is going to have to do it. So that is pretty wild. When we have a development, we ask for 50 trees to be planted somewhere else. That's our negotiation we have to do. Not 100, 50. In Welland, they want an overpass. That's wild. I saw the story and I just thought, wow, can you imagine? I want to build a subdivision way out in Sodom Road or somewhere, and I got to build an overpass over the QE Way so I can get to it. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, thanks to Dave Johnson, a reporter for the Welland Tribune. You think we've got developments that are complicated? Try adding an overpass over the QEW or the 406 to it. I mean, that is wacky. That's crazy. Okay, so we're going to talk about chili con carne after this, but I got to get to my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And you know, the weekend is a great time for having a pizza. You know, you're out in the backyard enjoying the outdoors, or you just come back from the beach or something. And you don't feel like cooking and bringing out pots and pans, and you've barbecued yourself to death. What do you want to do? You got to get a pizza. Just order a nice fresh pizza from Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Why? Because they make one heck of a pizza. They use the Mancini family recipe for their sauce and their crust. They mix Saputo mozzarella with brick and put it on the pizza with the sauce in the right ratio, and they do it consistently. Add fresh toppings, you got yourself a pie that's out of this world. And not only that, they have fantastic wings. If you're a pizza and wings person, hey, order some wings. You're going to love them. They're fantastic. They have steak and cheese poutine, steak sandwiches, panzerotti. They run the gamut of food. You're not going to go hungry if you look at their menu. Believe me, even if you don't like pizza, you're going to love their other food items. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, 905-374-2222. Order your pizza today. You know you want one. I always want pizza, by the way. And you can also use Dine and Skip and everything else. They have specials all the time. I don't know what their specials are. I never looked, but last month it was like 15% off orders over $25. It could be the same this month. They had a tray special on, $19.99 for a tray with 3 items. Wing specials, $9.49, I think, for a pound of wings on Thursdays. So they always have something. Look at the website, petespizza.victoria.ca. You'll see their latest specials. Get yourself a pizza. You know you want one. You want a good one, and you want a one that is consistent time after time. And that's what you get from Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Support our sponsors. They support the show. Thank you so much. Okay, so Chili Con Carney. Yep, he's going full DOGE, looking to cut $25 billion from the federal budget in the next 3 years. Woo! So it could finally mean that the Make Work program for immigrants, called the federal government, is going to end with layoffs and cuts to funding for outside organizations. There is a God. There is a God. Always believe that. I should have worn my faith t-shirt today. I've been calling for contraction, I should say. There are contradiction, government is. I've been calling for contraction of governments for a long time, especially the feds, where Trudeau expanded the federal government by hundreds of thousands of workers. All new employees, all sunshine list. And that was expanded by about 50% from what were working for the federal government in 2014, 2015. That's when Trudeau took over. Have things improved for anyone? For all these new people they've hired? No, not at all. Nothing's improved. Their Make Work programs, DEI. Not only did they hire people, their wages were 8.5% higher on average than Canadians employed in the private sector. And you wonder why Canada is $1.5 billion in debt, heading towards 1.5 trillion. Trillion with a T, in debt, heading towards 2 trillion. Now you know. Unbelievable. Between drunken sailor spending and Make Work programs for immigrants, our debt ballooned under Trudeau. Not to mention the payments to these people, putting them up at 5-star hotels and giving them lots of money. Is Carney finally going to turn the tap off? Hit the switch. I mean, these overpaid federal employees have to go. The standard of living is the only thing that appreciated while the Liberal government has run stuff. Because working stiffs in Canada that can't get government jobs for one reason or the other, their standard of living has dropped. It hasn't increased. Only the government employees' standard of living has increased. Listen to that carefully. Canada needs a smaller and more efficient federal government, and Carney looks like he's going to deliver, but on a very small scale. $25 billion is just a start. DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, needs to cut a lot more than that. I always have to ask myself, once the federal government cuts people, and it continues to run smoothly, like nothing happened, what the hell were all these people doing in the first place? You know, there's that old joke about government employees. Why don't they look out the window in the morning? And the simple answer is they'll have nothing to do in the afternoon. And that applies here. So, we've heard this story before. The feds are going to cut. The province is going to cut, they're going to cut, and we never see it happen. Making government less costly and more efficient is what has to happen. It never seems to happen. I don't know why. They can't get it together. And we have a prime minister now, Mark Carney, who can't even deliver a budget. Never mind cut waste, fraud, and abuse. Elbows up, everybody. Elbows up. Elbows up. And August 1st, 35% more tariffs. So there you go. Contracting government. That's what they say they're going to do. I hope they do it. I've never seen a Liberal government do it, but hey, maybe we're into something different here. We can always hope, right? We can always hope. A recent Fraser Institute report examined municipal finances. Oh boy, here we go, Niagara Falls. And found that spending was at record levels. And then instead of looking at finding ways to economize, hey, that's where DOGE comes in. Municipal governments typically just hike property taxes. Does that sound familiar, Niagara Falls residents? And I sit here all the time and I'm saying, and I just talked about this the other night. You hear these people talk about this and talk about that and blah, blah, but you never hear them saying that they're going to tighten their belts. It's always up to us to tighten our belt. Don't have pizza once a week. Don't do this. Don't do that. You got to spend less because you don't. You're going to go broke. We always are expected to tighten our belt, but nobody ever mentions financial mismanagement as a problem. Oh no, they're managing the finances great. It's inflation. It's tariffs. It's whatever. Climate change. There's always an excuse. And the increase in our taxes every year, that's how they get more money. They hike property taxes, like this Fraser Institute report says. I mean, our council's raised taxes over 25% of the last 4 years. And that doesn't include increases in water and power. I mean, there's taxes under another name. Now, COVID gave them basically a blank check. And the Fraser Institute recognizes this. Remember the catch-up 8% increase a few years back in Niagara Falls? It's a catch-up budget. There's no mustard relish or mayo with that ketchup. It was just ketchup. Unnecessary, but done nonetheless. It's even worse in Niagara Falls, where we have casino money to play with. But it doesn't seem to help the situation in Niagara Falls. Our taxes go up, but we're not getting any more service. As a matter of fact, services are probably down. We're not getting any better roads. Our roads are no better. Everybody's always complaining about the roads. And weeds on every intersection and homeless wandering the streets and everything else. I mean, so where's all this money going? And the Fraser Institute recognizes this. They use tax increases. That's what they do. They don't tighten their belts. They don't manage their money. They don't look for efficiencies. They just raise taxes. And they say leadership among municipal governments is needed. And we're seeing it happen at the region, with them setting an upper limit for increases at 3.5% as suggested by Bob Gale, higher than inflation, but a step in the right direction. I mean, my whole thing is zero. Let's have zero increase budgets. That's where we start. And you need a 3/4 vote of city council to raise the debt ceiling. You need 3/4 of a vote to go above 0% as an increase. 0% increase. You want to go above, you got to get 3/4 of council to agree. That's what it should be. We're committed to zero and go from there. And if we have to raise it, if we need 1 or 2%, it's got to be approved by 3/4 of council. 3.5% is nice. At least it's something lower than it has been in the region. But it's going to be interesting to see how they hold that line when the police budget are already asking for 8%. And that's their, excuse me, that's their minimum. They need that much of an increase on 213 million, figure out, do the math, to be able to maintain the services they're already giving us. What they really want is probably 13 or 14% like they did last year, 13.2% increase. So that's going to be an interesting negotiation with them because they need more. And of course, this isn't unique with the police budget and the fire budget being the highest of any department, and that's across the nation. Those two departments knock the hell out of any budget. And municipal bankruptcies do occur. They do occur, and when they do, The fire budget and the police budget are usually the two things that bring them down. Unaffordable and unfundable. In the region, we're seeing it right now. They're up against the wall. They're broke. I just told you a story yesterday about the person in charge saying they need $117 million to break even, or 110 million more to break even. And that's not even including the projects they still got to do, like the Niagara Wastewater Treatment Plant and Niagara South Water Treatment Plant and that kind of thing. This is why a fiscally responsible council is so important. And with that goes in the electoral that is tuned in and shows up in numbers on election day. We have to be tuned in. We have to know what they're spending money on. And then we have to say something about it. When they're wasting our money on concrete ping pong tables and $17 million exchanges and $17 million walking trails, these are monies that we don't have to spend. They're wants, not needs. But when you see this and when you see your taxes going up so much in that, I mean, there's no excuse for anybody to stay home on election day. Yet we had 73% stay home. What are they doing? Watching the Beverly Hillbilly reruns? They blamed the corner gas station, grocery stores, and Trump for higher prices. It doesn't make a lot of sense, really, when they should be the ones going and voting and getting the council in there that is fiscally responsible, that doesn't waste our money, is looking for efficiencies all the time. And this isn't me saying this, the Fraser Institute. So, I always talk. Everybody goes, he's full of it. He's a gas bag. He's a windbag. But at the end of the day, no. Other people are seeing it, and they're noticing it, and they're saying the same things. That's why they have DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, to go through departments and figure it out. Anyway, thanks to the Niagara Independent, the online newspaper, for the great article written by Catherine Swift, president of the CCMBC. There you go. Read it yourself. Niagara Independent. Read it. Interesting. Some good numbers in there. I gave you the highlights. There's a lot more to it. But at the end of the day, if we don't save money in that, where our taxes are going up, regardless of the money we got from the Niagara Regional Broadband sale and the $20 million you get from the casino every year. I can't stress it enough. I also read another interesting story here. Check this out. There's a massive exodus out of Canada at this moment. People are leaving Canada in numbers not seen since 1967, which was coincidentally the 100th birthday of Canada. Now, this might not seem like many, but 106,134 people left Canada last year, a 3% increase since 2023, and a 17% increase since 2019. And it isn't immigrants leaving. We know that because there's millions of them coming in. Interesting. I got a free ride. The guy's going to throw me across the border. That's what he said. Don't have to worry about it. Now, what province do you think that these people are abandoning? Well, nearly half of the exodus comes from Ontario, more than Quebec, BC, and Alberta combined. Why are they leaving, you ask? Several reasons. Canada has a mass affordability problem. It's expensive to live in Canada with all the taxes and everything, and it's going to get more expensive with elbows up. Canada has weak laws. We see that all the time. People get arrested. They get thrown in jail for drugs, for trafficking, for human trafficking, and they're back on the street the next day. They get charged with murder. They're back in the street the next day. It's a turnstile. It's a turnstile of justice, and it's bad in Canada. They're getting the hell out of Dodge. Canada has sky-high inflation. Well, we know that. We sit here and pay the bills. We know. Canada has uncontrolled government spending. We're seeing that right now. $213 million to the European Union to up their military. to improve their military. Another 213 billion billion. Another 2.3 billion to the Ukraine for weapons, and another 2 billion to the Ukraine to what are they doing with that? They're spending 2 billion on weapons, 2.3 on infrastructure to rebuild the Ukraine, help rebuild the Ukraine. That's supposed to be a loan. We'll never see a dime of it back. Carney's talking about upping our debt by $500 billion. So we're going to be a true 2 trillion. So we see government spending is out of control. Canadians keep electing the same government that is responsible for all of the above, and people have no hope for a change. So they get the hell out. They get out. Now, people want to know why. I want Canada to unite in some way with the United States. And what do? Like the guy this morning tells me to leave. Get the hell out. No, buddy, I've been here since 1643. My family's been here. Why should I get out? I was here before Canada was Canada, my family. I'm not getting out. You get out. Put your elbows down. Well, I won't have to go anywhere anyway. So no matter what all these guys say to get out, I won't have to go anywhere, because as we fall farther into the abyss, and Carney, with his elbows up attitude and can't make a deal with Trump, the 51st state scenario will come to me. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. I'll just sit and wait. I don't have to go anywhere. Don't have to go anywhere if it keeps up like this in Canada. Yeah, there's a mass exodus. People are getting the hell out. They've had enough. They're moving everywhere, anywhere. Mexico, Spain, Portugal, Italy. But they're not staying in Canada. They've had enough. Okay, over to the Trump-Musk wars. And this is getting pretty crazy. It all started with this big, beautiful bill. Musk didn't like it because of he was opening up the EV. The EV part of it, instead of mandating EVs by a certain date, 2035, I think it was, for the states, Trump opened it up and said, hey, people have the right to choose whatever kind of car they want to buy. So Musk didn't like that, although he knew from the beginning Trump was going to do this. And he also didn't like another a few $1 trillion of spending that was built into the big, beautiful bill, because he was there slugging his butt off to cut expenses, and then they're going to up it. So he didn't like that neither. Then it got really crazy. He said that Trump was on the Epstein list. It became a battle of the richest man in the world and the most powerful man in the world. And believe me, the richest man in the world is not going to win. He's not president. Trump is. So how do you cure this problem? Elon, I'm going to start my own party, the American Party. Good luck. Good luck. It's a two-party system. That's the way it's always been. Ross Perot, another billionaire, tried to break in with a new party years ago, and it never worked. It never worked. All it does is just confuse the whole situation. Like it or not, Elon, you're not going to start a party. You're not going to be able to get these people across the country and everything it takes to have a party. It's almost impossible to do. Not for another 100 years. If you want to start now and you're going to live that long, maybe he will. He has the technology. You never know. But better have tried and failed. The best thing that could happen now is Trump and Musk bury the hatchet and get along. I think MAGA needs both to succeed, and Trump holds the upper hand. Musk cannot win this fight. Now, Musk is saying that Steve Bannon was involved in the Epstein files. And, it's crazy because at the end of the day, Trump could actually pull his naturalized citizenship and send him back to live in South Africa. And all this SpaceX and everything that's getting billions of dollars from the government, Trump could cut that as well. And he would be out. He'd have to be spending his own money, not government money with NASA and everything. So it's he's better off just to shake hands, make up, forget about it, and get along for the sake of America. If he really wants America to survive and thrive, that's what he has to do. And Trump, I'm sure, would be glad to take him back if he decided that's the way he wants to go. Now, speaking of Musk, amongst the tirades against Trump was accusations that Trump and Steve Bannon are on the Epstein list. And everybody right now is clamoring to take a look at this list. Everybody wants to see the Epstein list. And Trump well, he knows what's on the list for sure. But Musk probably does too. Because having access to government files and that kind of thing for DOGE probably gave him access to this list and whoever was on it. So he probably has seen it. And when you're going through expenditures, where the government's spending the money, where people are spending the money, I'm sure he saw a couple of entries for Epstein. But you gotta watch his words carefully, because he just says Trump and Bannon are on the list. And this is one of the problems with the list. The media has blown this list up and made people think that whoever's on the list is involved in the child porn and child trafficking and underage sex and everything else that was going on, right? Some of them weren't. Some of them knew Epstein. He ran in the billionaire circles. All of them knew him. And sometimes he said, listen, if you want to go somewhere, just ask me and take my jet. And they did. But they never went to Epstein Island. There was no young girls on the plane when they went. It wasn't the Lolita Express. They just took a plane. And there's going to be a lot of people on that list that people think were involved in ugly stuff, bad stuff, that weren't. And that's a problem if they release the actual list. Doesn't mean you were doing anything illegal if you're on the list. That's the bottom line. It's just the way the media painted this list and anybody that was on it. We're going to find out more about Epstein. We're starting to find out more about him now. He was Mossad. He was CIA. He was an agent for these covert operations. And they're saying now that his scheme was to blackmail important people around the world so they would do what they were told. We don't know if that's true or not, but it sure does make sense. And why aren't they releasing the list? That's the question everybody's asking right now. And I think basically that I think they want to, but they just don't know what to do with it. With the names on that list, they don't know what to do. Should we release it? Should we not release it? What are we going to do with this? There's a lot of big names on it, a lot of people that are implicated, and probably a lot of names that would blow everybody's mind. We know some of them. We've seen a partial list. We've seen who was on it. But we haven't seen the whole thing that Trump promised he would release with JFK and MLK and everything else. And this is where the problem lies. Trump's credibility is going downhill fast. They're calling it a cover-up. And rightly so. Trump has to take the action on this one. He's got to release this list, come hell or high water, regardless of who's on it. He's got to release it. If MAGA means anything, if his campaign means anything, if all his supporters mean anything, he's got to release it. I'm going to tell you, if he doesn't, it could affect the midterms. It could affect the control of the House. Excuse me. If he loses control of the House, now we're talking impeachments and everything else. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. They're already trying to impeach him. Al Green's already stood up. If they get control of the House, they're going to impeach him again. So he's gotta do something with this. And now there's talk of this as a distraction from something else. What's that something else? Amnesty for illegal aliens. This is what they're saying. And this is another nightmare because the one thing he said, he's deporting all the illegals. It doesn't matter. He's getting rid of them. But they're talking in the back rooms of the Republican Party about not about changing that and not going along with Trump on it because there's a lot of farmers who use illegal aliens to do their work. And if they don't have people to work, they can't farm their farms, the produce to market. So they're looking at this saying, hey, we'd like to get rid of all of them, but I don't know if it's possible. So now there's that cover up that they're talking about. Nobody's talking about. So it's starting to get really crazy on the Trump train, and who knows what's going on. That's the problem. Transparency was the big word. Transparency, a transparent government. Pam Bondi, I'm going to be transparent. Levitt, we're going to be transparent. Big word of the day, but now it's questionable, and MAGA supporters are starting to falter. I always think that Trump has a better plan. He knows what he's doing. He's on top of it. But not all MAGA are that confident anymore. So we'll see where it goes. It's going to be interesting, but Trump's got his work cut out for him, and he's got to do the right thing. He's got to do the right thing. I mean, there can't be nobody on the list because Maxwell's doing time 20 years because of these people on the list. Yeah, she was the one who was providing him with the young girls and human trafficking and stuff. She's doing time for it. So somebody's on that list and they were doing something they shouldn't have been doing. So this thing about, oh, there's nobody on the list, no, that doesn't fly. That's a cover up. That's a cover up. We'll see what they do. And who else saw the list? Well, one guy named Alan Dershowitz. You'll remember him from the OJ trial, and he was also a lawyer for Epstein. So he says he saw the full list. So how did Dershowitz get access to see these names? Well, being Epstein's lawyer, they implicated him in it. He was on the Lolita Express. He was part of it. So he had to get the full list to prove he wasn't. But he claims he's under a non-disclosure order. To get the list, he had to sign a non-disclosure order. He couldn't reveal who was on the list. But he says he knows who was on the list. He knows all the names, why they were on the list, and what files are being suppressed. But he can't talk about it. He does say that it's being hidden to protect the world's most powerful people. And we're right back. It comes right back to the same thing. Trump is going to have to release this list and let the chips fall where they may. Stay tuned to this one because this is the hot water bottle. This is deflection. When they asked him straight up about it, he deflected. And that's not the way it has to be handled. Over to my fourth sponsor, Niagara Parks Commission. Or did I talk about Hamel Machine Shop? No, I don't think I talked about Hamel. Got to talk about Hamel. We'll finish up with Niagara Parks. But Hamel Machine Shop, since 1948, you know, whenever you think of an industry coming to a city, any city, it doesn't matter where, they always look to the city and make sure that there's machine shops that can handle repairs that they need because time is money for these places. And especially today, it's even more important because a lot of parts for these industries come from Europe, Germany, Japan, China, Taiwan, South Africa, South America, Mexico. And these places, they can't sit around waiting for parts to come in. They got to be up and running immediately. Toot sweet. The sooner, the better, so that they can keep their production running and not lose money. So who do they turn to? Well, they turn to Hamel Machine Company. They take the broken part there. Hamel looks at it and says, hey, I can fix that. And if you can't fix it, they can re-engineer a new one, reverse engineer one from the old part. They have all the water jet cutters, 3D printers, everything they need to be able to do this. They save the company's money and they innovate. They'll make the part better so it works more efficient. That's what they do. Innovators, inventors, and a lot of their products are shipped around the world that they've improved in. I would imagine they patented them. They ship them around the world because they're better parts. They work better on the machines. That's the kind of thing that Hamel does right over here on Bridge Street and on Kent Street in Niagara Falls. But they haven't forgot about you, the little guy, where they started in 1948. They haven't forgot about us neither. If we need something done, we can just take it to Hamel and they'll repair it for us. They have all the equipment, all the milling equipment, everything. Everything you need to repair whatever you have broken, you just call Hamel. They're going to take care of it for you. Been around since 1948. We'll serve the wine industry, big industries like Rich Products, hydroponics industry. They do it all. They do it all and they do it good. That's why they've been in business for so long. HamelMachine.ca. Check out the beautiful work they do for the wineries in the Niagara Peninsula. And please support our sponsors because they support the show. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to China. China's in turmoil. Xi Jinping, the president, hasn't been seen since he made the deal with Trump. That was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Strangely enough, he is one of the leaders of the BRIC movement. And if you remember what BRICS is, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and Saudi Arabia, and plus other countries as well. They're going to have a monetary system and get rid of the American dollar. But Xi Jinping hasn't been seen. He didn't go to this meeting the first time ever. It was in Rio de Janeiro. And he was missing and Putin was missing, which is really, really weird. It's his no-show, his first no-show ever. People are saying that this shows China's enthusiasm towards the new dollar, looking to replace the U.S. buck as the world's exchange currency is faltering. That's big news. And you got to wonder what happened to Xi Jinping. He hasn't been seen. BRICS is in decline and headed to a complete dissolution. So weird things happening in China right now, all coming down from these tariffs. As the BRICS leaders gathered in Rio, President Trump issued this warning. Any country aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged an additional 10% tariff. There'll be no exceptions to this policy. So he's letting it be known that if you want to undermine the American currency as the world currency, exchange currency, go ahead, but you're going to pay. You're going to pay. Now, this group's major mandate was to float the idea of adopting a common currency to challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollars in international trade, because that's what everything's based on, the U.S. dollars. Petrodollars, they used to call them. In 2024, the value of trade between BRICS nations in the U.S. was around $5 trillion, accounting for about 22% of global exports. Members have always felt their economic potential would be realized if they did not depend on the U.S. dollar for trade, and an alternative to the U.S. dollar for trade would be a serious pushback against the U.S. economic dominance with the American dollar dominating. So that's why they're doing it. Xi and Putin not being there is a big deal. And it could be the end of BRICS, because without them, they're the two biggest. They're the two biggest. Without them, BRICS doesn't survive. So there you go. That's about what's happening around the world. I mean, a lot of stuff going on in Canada, a lot going on in the U.S. Trump's under the gun. And I'm telling you, he's better come through because he made a lot of promises and people have faith in him. And I still do have faith in him. A lot of times he's playing a different game than everybody else. He knows what he's doing. But there's times like this where it looks real bad. And he's got to straighten it out. I'm telling you that right now. He's got to straighten this out before the midterms. So that's a must. That's a must happen. Anyway, that's it for me today. I'm getting out of here, but I want to get to my fourth sponsor before I leave. That's the Niagara Parks Commission. The Niagara Parks Commission, I mean, they are the custodians of 32 miles of the most beautiful parkland in Canada. It runs from Fort Erie to Niagara Lake, with Niagara Falls being right in the center of it. Right in the center of it. And it's just unbelievable down there. They take care of the property. It's pristine. They even have goats eating grass. Bob Gale's idea. But not only that, they have attractions. They put together these attractions to highlight Niagara Falls. They have the Table Rock House with a restaurant in there, right down by the falls. Tourists can enjoy. And under that is scenic tunnels that take you to the brink of the falls. They have the zip lining. You can slide down a zip line with a direct view of the American Falls towards the Canadian Falls. They have the Hornblower boat trip down there you can experience. They have the Great Gorge walks right down by the rapids, Grade 6 rapids, so dangerous they can't let boats in there. They have butterfly conservatory, schools of horticulture, power stations you can walk through that aren't used anymore but have been refurbished for tourists. They have so many great things. They have attractions passes. So if you want to see a bunch of things, you can pay one low price for it. And they have even parking passes for people in Ontario where you can pay one low price. And every time you come here, you save yourself money because it's like $36 to park down by Table Rock House. So there's so many things that they offer, so many exciting attractions and interesting attractions, historical attractions. Niagara Parks Commission, you can't beat it. Plus, golf at one of their world-famous public golf courses, the most beautiful public golf courses anywhere in the world, maybe. It's unbelievable what they have. Niagara Parks Commission, go to niagaraparks.ca. You can see everything they have to offer, all their attractions groups. Everything is at the website. You can't beat it. We take for granted in Niagara Falls, the Niagara Falls themselves, and the beautiful job the Parks Commission does. Do not miss it. Go down the parks, enjoy it, and see everything they have to offer. Niagara Parks Commission, niagaraparks.com is the website. You can't beat it. I think it's probably niagarafalls.ca too. I wonder if they have that. They probably do. You know, they got it. They got everything there. They got everything. It's beautiful. Anyway, I'm out of here for today. It's finally Friday. I've done my hour, Gary Wilkins. Time for me to go. Have a great weekend, everybody. It's just gorgeous out there. It's going to be a beautiful weekend as well. So enjoy it. Be safe. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything crazy. We don't want any bad stories over the weekend. I'm getting out of here. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice. This is up in the sign. 4680Q Radio right here on my 4680Q t-shirt. Now available to the public if you want one. Let us know. Anyway, I'm going to go. Have a great day, everybody. God bless you all. See you Monday at noon with Manic Monday on Your City, Your Voice. Promises made, promises kept. Trump, remember that. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day.